Insight into the Royal Barbados Police Force's response to the crime situation and more specifically the recent level of gun-related crime. Lives have been lost due to the gunplay and several people left injured as a result. Lawmen are investigating yet another murder as 21-year-old Ashem Telemaki, who was shot several times earlier this month, passed away at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital yesterday morning. The Britons Hill resident was reportedly fired upon by a group of young men and was one of two people injured during that incident. Acting Police Commissioner Tyrone Griffith is scheduled to hold a press conference in just under an hour's time at police headquarters. A government advisor on social policy, Hamilton Lashley, says Barbados may have to adopt some unorthodox approaches in an effort to reach at-risk youth. Mr. Lashley would like to see more resources pumped into community development and the utilization of community commissioners and resource centers. He says Barbados has refused to engage so-called bloc leaders and community groups in their approaches to rising criminal activity.
We in Barbados continue to follow the same traditional methodologies in relation to how we are dealing with the issues that are confronting this nation's youth over a period of time. For too long, we have still been looking at those so-called people who are specifically selected to do what I call social intervention programs in the communities across Barbados and have failed.
Mr. Lashley says the crime situation is not unique to Barbados and warrants the attention of regional attorneys general and ministers of youth.
It is not. We cannot deal with this situation in Barbados in isolation. We know the ministers of youth and the attorney generals across the region, I keep saying so, must, as a matter of distinct urgency, hold a very serious summit meeting on the gun violence and the level of gang violence in the Caribbean before it threatens our tourism product. It is critical that an urgent meeting be held, and this is not a response, a panic response.
Queen's Park could be renamed. Government has started preliminary discussions on whether the city park should be renamed National Heroes Park. Minister of Culture Stephen Lashley led a touring party of the park with Prime Minister Freundel Stewart, Permanent Secretaries Sonja Welch and Ruth Blackman, and officials of the National Cultural Foundation. The aim was to determine whether the location was a suitable one for the National Heroes Park. The Culture Minister notes that there is still need for further discussions with various stakeholders and then ultimately prepare a proposal for the consideration of the Cabinet. He also disclosed that his ministry is moving to start the restoration of the Queen's Park buildings. Well, 2 CBC employees are among 4 broadcasters from Barbados named among the major winners at this year's Caribbean Media Awards ceremony in Grenada. They are producer-presenter Belle Holder and Senior Manager and Head of Archives and Information Sherwood McCaskey. Winner in television in the Education Culture category sponsored by UNESCO was Mr. McCaskey for his production Speightstown, A Forgotten Treasure. His production team included research assistant Kevin Walker and videographer Rondell French. Holder received a special mention for her documentary, Explore Dominica, and her team included videographer Wayne Ward and editors Joel Bowen and Rondell French. And congrats to them. Well, past and present students of the Combermere School turned out in their numbers to view the body of former principal Dorian Pyle. She was the first and only female principal of that institution. A small service was held in the school's auditorium to reflect on her contributions. Ms. Pyle was respected by many and remembered for her caring personality. Past students shared their memories of her.
When I became involved as president of the PTA and then the Old Scholars Association, Mrs. Pyle was always there to offer advice in any form.
I was a known troublemaker at school, but Miss Pyle always was there for me. She always give Shelly a break, give Shelly a break. Even though I was wrong, she would still beg for me.
I found her to be a very understanding principal. She cared a lot for her students in terms of those who were not as fortunate as others. She really looked out for me as a student. There were a few times when I had issues and I knew that I could go to Miss Pearl.
Mrs. Pearl was always very caring, very loving. She was never too busy to take the time out to see that you were okay. I always remember that warm smile and those big hugs that she shared. And she will truly be missed.
I recall that when she first came to Comamere as a teacher, I believe I would have been either in 4th or 5th form, so that I didn't have the experience of her as the head of the school. But I'd always remained a very nice, close relationship with her, as she recognized me all along as a Comamerian.
And the funeral service of the late Dorian Powell takes place at 3:30 this afternoon at the St. George Parish Church. Well, Tropical Storm Danny has strengthened into the first named hurricane of the 2015 Atlantic hurricane season. Danny is now a Category 1 hurricane with winds of 75 miles per hour. The National Hurricane Center says the system is continuing to move west toward the Leeward and Windward Islands. The forecast calls for Danny to remain a hurricane and threaten the Leeward Islands and Puerto Rico by early next week. Well, regional carrier Liat is warning passengers across the region meantime that it may be forced to cancel some flights on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday due to Danny. It is advising passengers to continue monitoring radio stations and its website for further updates. It notes that customers affected by any possible disruptions can rebook for a later date without incurring the change fees or fare differences. There is, however, only a 2-week grace period for this to happen. Electric dance music, or EDM, fans in Barbados have a major event to look forward to next weekend on August 29th. Kensington Oval is set to come alive as artists Koshfather and Jinko from California perform during Electric Galore Entertainment's Eat, Rave, Repeat show. Events director Damien Griffith says, in addition, come November, Electric Galore will host an electro festival similar to those held internationally. He says this could boost tourism and give better exposure to up-and-coming Barbadian DJs.
We're never going to be on the same scale as them, but that then makes our festival something that's going to be intimate. An intimate festival is what you get in Barbados. So when we arrange with DJs to come in, their fans can come here. They get a more personalized experience where they get to meet the DJs that are playing, not just listening to them play on stage. And it also then allows us to help local talent to start to grow.
And we'll have regional and international stories after the break.